So let's tell you the story of a former hero police officer who's now lost his job. Lorne Castle was dismissed from the force for gross misconduct after failing to treat a 15-year-old boy, it says here, I would suggest he's a teenager, with courtesy and respect. Now, it's worth saying that a Stanley-like knife had fallen from the youth's waistband during his arrest, but a misconduct panel said PC Castle failed to act with self-control and made the teenager feel frightened and intimidated. He was 15 and carrying a knife in Bournemouth city centre. Well, I think that's a great idea. We should make more people feel threatened and intimidated, shouldn't we, if they decide to carry knives? So here is the incident in question. January last year, you will hear the police officer, PC Castle, arrest the 15-year-old.
Hey, you're under arrest! You're under arrest! Get on the floor!
Get down on the
now!
Get down on the floor!
Now! Get down! Show me your fucking hand! Show me your fucking hand! Now!
What did I do?
Right!
What have I done?
Stay where you are!
Wait,
Now!
I've done nothing!
Put your fucking hand behind your son!
I can't!
Right.
I've done nothing!
Right!
I've
Listen!
done nothing!
Stop screaming like an
I
old
haven't
bitch!
done nothing!
Do you understand
What
that?
have I done?
Shut up!
Honestly, what have I done?
Right. We're going to
Roll over.
you.
No.
We need
Right!
Please.
You try resisting again!
Mate,
Do you understand? Right! Shut up! Now you try resisting one more time!
I've done nothing!
Right.
Get your fucking hand behind your back!
What
Do you
have I done?
understand?
Listen to
What
us.
have I done?
Listen to us.
One hand at a time! One hand at a time!
My fucking neck!
Then stop
Get off
screaming!
me. I don't want you on me!
Okay, we're going
Get
to
off
get
me.
you to your side in a minute, okay?
What have I
Yeah,
done?
can we have another unit? We've
Can
got
I-
to be able to take opposite that hotel.
Can you explain
He's
what I've
being a
done?
bitch.
What
Right,
have I done?
stop resisting or I'm going to smash you. Do you
What have I
understand?
done?
Put your hand
What have I
behind your
done?
back.
Can you explain? I have the right to know what I've done wrong.
What you've done wrong, you loathsome individual, is that you're carrying a Stanley-like knife in a town centre, a clear breach of the law. And, by the way, if you didn't fight, if you'd just given yourself up, you wouldn't have had to be wrestled to the ground. That police officer now, who last year received a Royal Humane Society award for saving a woman from drowning in a river, is now out of a job. And there's a fundraising initiative to try and cover his salary because he's been fired. Should he have been? Ken Hinds is a youth worker, an anti-knife crime campaigner, chairs Haringey's independent stop and search monitoring group. When you heard the audio, when you heard the sound of that, what went through your mind, Mr. Hinds? Good morning.
Morning, Nick. Just to say that I'm the former chair of the Haringey.
I apologise. We'll put that right. Thank you for making that correction.
But just to say this, it's absolutely right that that officer got sacked.
Why is that?
Because he was just out of order, out of control. But he's supposed to be. It's a disgrace for the uniform he wears. And the simple fact that his colleague had to go and report to the senior supervisor was, I have to give credit to them for doing that, dobbing their colleague in, because he would only infest others and take away the good name, the hard work that the many police officers do.
Well, what's
This
your view of
youngster-
the 15-year-old carrying the knife, Mr. Hinds?
Listen, absolutely right. He needs to be brought to book for carrying that knife. But let me say this much to you: when he stopped him, it was not for anything to do with a knife. It was to do with some allegation of an assault. The knife happened to fall out of his waistband, and he wasn't even aware that the knife was there.
The knife
So let's
happened
not-
to
let's
fall
not-
out of his waistband. I think we get an
Waistband.
idea of what this 15-year-old is like then, don't we, Mr.
Well,
Hinds?
let me say this much to you. He's still a child, and my thing is simply the police has got a procedure that he should have been used. It's called Go Wisely. He should have had that proper interaction. The young people have been complaining.
Why are you
for
defending this
Let me-
teenager, Mr. Hinds?
I'm not defending
You
him.
did. You
I'm
just said he's a
defending-
child. He's a
Yes, I'm
15-year-old with a knife.
Yeah, I'm defending teenagers because they may be look strong body, but they generally got weak mind. The mind ain't fully formed. But I would say this to you: other youngsters has complained of the same sort of thing, where the police just jump out the car, they throw them against the wall, throw them to the ground, and then expect to have a conversation with them. That young boy was pleading, saying, "Look, just please tell me what I'm arrested for." Don't forget, you didn't tell him anything. They said I'm under arrest. It goes against the police training that they've been taught. And if this is how they've been taught that they need to go and do and treat young people, then you know what? They're gonna. It's a riot just waiting there down the road with that kind of reaction.
So you're suggesting you should politely ask this person to get the knife out of his trouser, out of the waistband of his trousers, are you?
Nick, I would suggest that he got stopped because it was an assault, an allegation of an assault on an elder person. He should have stopped him and saying, "This is what we've got for you. I'm going to do your search, and this is who I am." Going through the procedure as the police often do, and you know what.
And you think the
procedure is.
15-year-old with a knife is going to easily give himself up to be searched by a police officer? You don't think he's going to resist, Mr. Hinds?
Look, absolutely. He would. He was cornered. He was cornered. And this police seemed like he was just an out-and-out bully, and just wanted to use that kind of that force, excessive
those
force,
sort of tactics.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
Excessive force.
OK. I'm grateful for your time. Mr. Hinds, thank you. Ken Hinds, you were chair of Haringey's Independent Stop and Search Monitoring Group. You are an anti-knife crime campaigner. Good luck with that. I'm afraid I don't think we won't agree on much, but I wish you best of luck with your endeavours there. 10 after 7. Listening to that, Shabnam Chaudhri, who's former Detective Superintendent of the Metropolitan Police, had an officer serving under you when you were a DS behaved in that fashion. What would you have done? Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Ken did make a couple of good points, but what I would say is this. The officer was absolutely right to restrain the suspect, the young, his age is irrelevant, 15, 20. Mm-hmm. He did happen to be a kid. He restrained him correctly. He did behave poorly. I think he lost it a little bit.
Yep.
He was oblivious to his colleague who was trying to de-escalate the situation. I think there was so much screaming on one side that he was shouting louder.
Yep, that's fair.
He did go through a disciplinary board, and his colleagues were right to complain about it. The point I would make is this, which I think is really important. Yes, he has got previous exemplary service, or did the panel consider, has this officer displayed previously any red flag behaviours? Have officers complained about his conduct and his behaviour? It would appear not. He did lose it. He had the honesty to actually accept that he behaved poorly, was ashamed at watching the video. Do I think he deserved to be sacked? No, I don't. Do I think he should have been disciplined? Absolutely right. Perhaps a 12-month or a final written warning so that his behaviour could be monitored in the future. I think that policing has to look at every situation, and I appreciate that when you look at this and the optics of it, it doesn't look good. But actually, when you look at it in the grand scale of things, the officer is dealing with a situation where he's chased somebody believed to be involved in an assault, wasn't aware of a knife. Had he not restrained him, had he just cornered him and the kid suddenly produced that knife, the situation could have been a whole lot worse, putting himself at harm, putting the officer at harm, and putting the wider public at harm.
Shabnam Chaudhri, thank you. You're former Detective Superintendent with the Metropolitan Police, saying quite clearly you're not supporting that type of action, but equally you don't think the police officer should have been fired, and I'm absolutely with you there. I think the red mist did descend over this particularly brave police officer, there's no doubt about that, and that was heavy-handed, but there's no way on earth the man should lose his job. Shabnam Chaudhri, thank you. Paul's in 7:13. Paul's in Leicester. Your reaction, Paul. Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. I've had to pull over as a former police officer, on response doing the same job as this officer for a number of years. I do love the Shut-Off Squad. I listen to this daily. We're such a... Honestly, Nick, we're the guy that's just been on talking, you should use go wisely, which is what we used to use as the grounds for explaining, the grounds for the search. The officers from X station, there's my ID. At what point did that individual, think it was appropriate to do that? Oh, I'm sorry, young man. Can you please, that knife's just fallen out of your waistband, but let me just tell you which station I'm based at. I just find it, honestly, Nick, we're asked to do a job. That's why I left after 10 years. We're asked to do a job to protect members of the public. And, OK, listening to the audio, maybe that officer was quite vocal in the way that he was, but he felt that was necessary to deal with someone who was, as you alluded to, was carrying a knife.
I need to say he didn't know he had a knife when he first stops him. The knife comes out, in the subsequent tussle. But I appreciate he's then almost potentially fighting for his life there.
He's reacted in that way, Nick. He's seen a knife. He's reacted in that way. And it's all well and good everybody saying, he should have done this and he should have said that. Have these individuals ever been in this situation where they've dealt with someone? I have. I had somebody wielding a machete at me. Excuse me, sir, could you please place that machete on the ground and we'll go for a coffee? I find this country ridiculous, and it's part of the reason I left the police, Nick.
What are you doing now, sir? What do you do now?
I'm a lorry driver now.
Are
It's
you?
a lot less stress.